Welcome to Faith in Marriage Today. I am Jason Angelette, joined by my co-host Dr. Mario Sacasa, and we have two great guests in the house. Ben Clapper, he's the director from the Louisiana Right to Life, and also Allison Millet, CEO of the Women's New Life Clinic. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I almost got that mixed up. Instead of messing up the names, I was messing up Louisiana. I've only lived here my entire life, but hey, who cares? So look, we got a great show. Obviously, everything going on right now, we're talking about life and love and building up a culture of that, and we need laws to protect it. As I think what Dr. Martin Luther King said, you know, laws cannot change the heart, but it can restrain the heartless. And I feel like we need to be praying for the hearts of all to see the value and the dignity of life in all circumstances, regardless of the pressures and the problems that are associated with it. So, Dr. Mario, you just had an amazing podcast with Ben Clapper. You want to talk a little bit about that? Obviously, we're going to talk about the legal side of things and also the ministry side of things, of ways that we're serving women in our archdiocese and also in Baton Rouge Archdiocese, because the Women's New Life Center Clinic is also located there as well. So we'll get into that. Great show. Mario, take us off.
Sure. So thanks, Jason, and we appreciate you guys being here. And so, yeah, I had this great interview with Ben just last week that released on the episode Always Hope. You can check the podcast out at faithinmarriage.org, where we had a wonderful hour-long conversation about what led up to this leak, what exactly is Roe versus Wade, what exactly is happening in this decision, and how is that impacting us. And so we want to continue that conversation here as we're gathering all of us. And so I guess for both of you, Ben and Allison, thank you guys so much for taking time away from your busy schedules to be with us. But where do we stand now? Okay, so now the leak's been a couple weeks now that it's been out. What's going on? What's the latest? Where do we kind of stand with things?
Sure. Well, the Supreme Court leak came out that seems to indicate that Roe v. Wade will be overturned. That was not a final decision, but we expect likely by the end of June at least, could be earlier, we really don't know, that we hope a similar, if not the same decision is released. Again, we can't guarantee that in any way, and it could be something totally different. But, it looks like, I would say odds are that they're going to release something similar to that. And we're going to see Roe v. Wade overturned, which was handed down in 1973, which designated that a whole class of human beings, those who are waiting to be born, had no rights in our country from a federal perspective. And that's going to change that, in one day. Just like the rights were stripped in one day, you're going to see those restored. And then a state like Louisiana that would have the ability to protect and defend human life in the state.
Well, and I've been watching a lot of stuff on social media, probably wrapped up a little too much in like what's going on and what's happening, what are people are saying. But what I've seen overwhelmingly, that there is among the people, there's a great confusion of what this really means, and then people are taking the misunderstanding, the confusion, and trying to cause fear and frustration and anger, and so you're seeing a lot of like tension, obviously build more than ever. So, where's the confusion?
Sure. Well, I think first, if Roe v. Wade's overturned, that doesn't mean that all abortions nationwide are illegal, right? I think clear that up right off the bat. It just means the state has the ability to make a decision, whereas previously they have not had the chance to make that decision before a baby is considered viable, which means they can live outside the womb. So essentially the Supreme Court has said if the baby cannot live outside the womb, then the state cannot protect them from abortion. That would change if Roe v. Wade is overturned, that a state would be able to pass a law, like Louisiana would be able to pass a law that says all unborn babies are protected and that abortion would be illegal in that situation because of that. So I think that's a misconception that we have to make sure that we address. And I think the other big misconception is that somehow women will systematically be abandoned in America and that the pro-life movement will just simply go home and quit, which we know is just completely and utterly false. But it's a talking point that's out there, and I think Allison and the work of the Women's New Life Clinic is just one of many examples in Louisiana, across America, to say that that's totally wrong.
Allison, what do you think about that last point that Ben just brought up?
Absolutely. Women, they need our help. The legality of abortion, it doesn't really matter to a woman who's in an unplanned pregnancy. Women are not coming to us because they say it's my body, my choice, and I'm looking for abortion, that's my right. They're coming to us because they're in crisis. And we have to look at the situation, the circumstances surrounding her unplanned pregnancy. And everyone must remember that there are organizations like Women's New Life Clinic, we have dozens of other pregnancy centers in the state of Louisiana and nationwide that are providing free medical and mental health support for women. We're here for her, and we're here for her for the long haul, as long as she needs us. And it's incredible. It's a beautiful opportunity to help women.
That's Fantastic.
You know, sometimes I've seen the critics for people who are standing for pro-life are saying, well, what are you doing for the baby? Or for the mother, all you care about is the baby. And it's like, well, yeah, you do spend time taking care of but it's also, they're together. We're both trying to provide safety and protection for babies and for women. Why is it that in our culture that when we see a situation where there's an unplanned pregnancy, where there's a woman, let's say, was not expecting this and here it is, that immediately the culture wants to say, now have an abortion. Like, this is your choice. You have to choose. This is your only way out. Why is that the case? Why can't we be promoting more of the work and supporting more of the work, being able to say, no. This is a temporary situation. Abortion is a permanent solution trying to bring about a death to a temporary situation that if we step into it with love and resources, we can provide life and we can provide hope and we can provide an opportunity.
Yeah, I would say abortion, it's an easy out, and there's a monetary gain for someone, right? And for a great number of people. And we're not looking at the hard issues. We're not looking at the circumstances surrounding her pregnancy, such as her lack of financial or emotional support. So the easy out is the abortion. And there is a great amount of greed, I think, that comes with that.
And the sad thing is it's not easy.
There's
women suffer because of it, and there's people's stories of people who shared their regret, they shared their struggles post-abortion and what that did for them and for their family. So it's not like it is. It's trying to be marketed as an easy out, but it's something that causes great harm. It's women deserve better than abortion. As a country, we need to do better than promoting and fostering and providing and defending abortion as the way to solve this issue.
Amen. So Ben, asking this question, okay, so let's say this gets overturned and obviously it's just a leak, the decision isn't final. Some decisions were made this past week, but this one was in terms of the Supreme Court. So we're waiting possibly June, July, sometime over the summer. But once it happens, what can Catholic parishes, what can Catholics do in Louisiana begin doing now in a post-Roe America, which is kind of crazy to even say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So what's the next steps, I guess?
Sure. Well, for individuals, Catholic individuals, I think obviously supporting and working with the pregnancy centers and the medical clinics that are helping women is important. The Archbishop sent a letter out last week, Archbishop Amon sent a letter out last week that I thought was spot on, is that we're ready to protect life, but Catholic parishes have to step up and be havens for women and men who find themselves in crisis pregnancy situations. First, I encourage every pastor, every priest to stand up and say, we're ready to protect life, but our arms are open wide for women and men who find themselves in these difficult situations. The USCCB, the U.S. bishops, have a great program called Walking with Moms in Need, where it's supposed to be implemented on a parish level, where the parish self-evaluates all the resources that they have of how to help and support people in these situations, and then how to communicate that and make sure that they're there across the board for women in need. So together with the Archbishop, we've really been encouraging people and parishes to implement that and make sure that they're. In fact, I had a conversation with a local priest this morning, and he was wondering, I want to make sure in the confessional I have what I need to give to women and men who hurt from past abortions. Wow. And that's important as well.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to be funny here, but it doesn't sound like the Catholic Church hates women. And the reason I say that tongue-in-cheek, because that's been the narrative that's come out in response to this. Well, my body, my choice. You hate women. What are you doing for women? At a level that's like, these accusations are just false.
They're false, and Allison mentioned the greed part of this. We're talking about an abortion industry that's selling abortion between $400 and $1,000 an abortion. And if we're talking almost 1 million abortions a year, that's a lot of money out there. So the abortion industry has a desire to continue to perpetuate these lies funded to, and I think that is what kind of also twists the narrative and the culture here. There's no money involved. None of us, there's no money incoming. This is all being done out of the goodness of our hearts and the support of good people.
But the challenge is that because that narrative has been spun, culturally speaking, by the media and others in the popular narrative, that it makes it difficult then for us to say exactly what we're saying, which is that, like Archbishop Amon's letter, we're ready to respond. We're ready, as a church, we're ready to respond to whatever the needs are to be as this haven. And that's the narrative that needs to continue to be promoted in a more positive way, that the church is here ready to meet you when you're suffering. The church is here to meet you when you're struggling. The church is here to meet you when things don't go the way you expect them to go. That's what your parish is supposed to be. And certainly, again, some priests do this better than others. I get it, whatever. But still, as a whole, this is what the church is supposed to be here for, to provide for you, to take care of you in these times of need. And that message has absolutely been lost.
You know, to me, I keep thinking about, this is such a spiritual battle that we're under. This is something that's more than just, I mean, you look at what Christ did on the cross. He says, this is my body given up for you. And then what you hear in the abortion industry is, this is my body and I can do whatever I want to do with it. And then you have this gift of life that we see in Christ that he offers to us. We've got to go back to our roots. We've got to go back to prayer. We've got to go back to fasting. We've got to go back, because this is going to be the way. I feel like we're so lost and we need to bring Christ more. And it's a beautiful thing that the church needs to step up and has been stepping up. It's not like it's like this is like a new thing. The church is like, it's the right to life. Like the Catholic bishops, right? They stepped in and they supported this and provided this.
But that goes back to like the lie that like has been spun that somehow we don't care. And it's like, no, like
no, we care deeply.
We care a lot.
We care deeply, like you're saying. And this isn't like making money and all this stuff like that. Y'all are exhausting resources to women to serve, to be there for people. So maybe we're jumping ahead, but going into what Allison, what you're doing at the Women's New Life Clinic, both in Baton Rouge and in New Orleans. So maybe give us some resource. What are you doing specifically, and then how can people, or who's providing the support for your work?
Yeah, thank you. So we provide free pregnancy tests and free ultrasounds, and then we also have professional counselors that can provide mental health support. We realized, our founder many years ago realized, if someone is considering a life-ending decision like suicide, you want to get them to a mental health professional as soon as possible. Why then are we not doing the same for a woman who's considering this end-of-life decision? As you mentioned, Jason, it's permanent. So we want to be able to provide that support for the unplanned pregnancy. Unplanned pregnancies don't discriminate. So our folks in our church pews, it's very likely that the person to your left or to your right has struggled with a past abortion in some capacity. Maybe the woman or the man was complicit in abortion. Maybe she herself had one. Maybe there's a grandparent who had to struggle with that and helplessly sit by, right? So we can offer counseling support for anybody with an unplanned pregnancy, for a past abortion. We also help women with postpartum depression and pregnancy loss. Sometimes we see women who come in thinking they may want an abortion because they may have had a traumatic or difficult pregnancy prior.
Right.
And so we walk with them through that and help them to understand that, this is a crisis and what does this look like, and give them the tools that they need and use therapy techniques that our counselors provide. We also offer material support. So it goes beyond the diapers and the wipes. We also help with anything that she might need for herself. We like to give her, a lot of our churches do baby showers for us, and they'll have mom showers, and they'll put things together like a nice little package for the mom as well. And then we also want to make sure that we partner with our social service agencies who are also offering life-affirming care for women. The adoption agencies, like Catholic Charities, they're phenomenal. In both of our cities, we want to make sure that women know that these resources exist, and that we work really, really hard to make sure she's got help with housing or rental assistance, food, that kind of thing.
That's fantastic. Thank you guys for all the great work you're doing, and being able to share it with our audience here in WLAE. So I guess my question is, when this overturns, okay, we're operating as if this is going to happen. How does that impact your work? And I can see I guess I'm asking the question in a couple ways. One, we've seen some violence and vandalism is the proper word, against pro-life clinics throughout the country. We've seen that. But the second piece, what both of you were talking about in terms of the financial element, with if abortion is no longer legal in the state of Louisiana, then that dries up financial resources to a Planned Parenthood or to the abortion clinics. And so if they're not able to provide, or then does that increase the need for more clinics such as the Women in Your Life's clinic? And I guess I'm just trying to think of like that. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely, we believe so, because a woman's crisis is going to be compounded, and we're seeing that women are coming over from Texas and they're calling us. They feel even more desperate because they're out, as we said, and that lie that spun that this is the easy out. This is the only thing you can, put blinders on to every other difficult circumstance. Just get the abortion, right? Well, when that's taken away, a woman is in greater crisis, and some women are really angry. So we know, especially that mental health support there's a greater need for that. We're looking to bring on more counselors in our clinics for that support as well. And financially, we need more support. We talked about vandalism. There's a lot of anger, I guess, especially against pro-life centers, pro-life clinics like ours. So we have increased security to make sure that all of our clients are safe. Yeah. We want them to know that it's safe to come to us. We are a safe haven. We always have been, and we always will be.
Yeah, well, our organization has Louisiana Right to Life. Obviously restoring the right to life in Louisiana is going to be a huge victory for us, and we have to continue legally to make sure that that's enforced and that actually happens, right? It's one thing for the law to change, and then we got to actually make sure it work with policy makers and law enforcement and everything to make sure it's done. So I think we have to do it. I think number two, we have to continue to help and work with pregnancy centers and also with lawmakers to increase our state's commitment to alternatives to abortion. In fact, this legislative session, it looks like we're going to add $2 million in state dollars to help alternatives to abortion. So that is happening right now through the state's budget. So we've been working to ensure that happens. We also have to make sure that adoption and adoption education increases in the state, because right now many women and men are not inclined to choose adoption. We need to change the narrative on that so adoption becomes a more attractive option for people in need. And then I think for us, part of our role of restoring a legal right to life, we're going to also be working with other states to help kind of do what we've done in Louisiana and apply that assistance to states in the Gulf Coast and maybe outside the Gulf Coast as well.
Yeah, praise God. Louisiana has been just a huge leader in the pro-life movement, and I'm sure there's other states out there like Texas and Mississippi, things like that we can all learn together and grow together, and you're doing this together, more united States on this issue of life. But one of the things we're talking about, obviously the resources. You need funding, you need support, and I guess, and also we need to learn more. I think this is one of the things that this has challenged me, is to know more about to articulate better, and I'm still trying, the issues of life and what's going on, what's the problems and all that. So where can people learn more information about this subject matter, about all the things that you're doing at the state level, Ben, but also too, Allison, like the stuff that you're doing, you're providing, where can people go and how can people support you right now? And tell us maybe some upcoming fundraisers and events that are happening right now for you. Ben, if you're going to go first.
Okay, sure. Well, our website, prolifelouisiana.org, just Google Louisiana Right to Life, and sure you're going to find us. So on there, you can engage with us. You can follow all the legislation that we're working on at the Capitol right now. prolifelouisiana.org/session gives you our list of about 15 bills. So I'm at the Capitol almost every day working on all of those pro-life bills. We're trying to especially make sure that we finish all of this out and our laws are in the best possible place. So you can help us. We need your help in contacting your legislators. That's an important thing right now, praying for us, and then you can support us through our website. And that's so much our focus right now. I don't even think we have a fundraiser. It's all been like all hands on deck. This is like, for us, this is like the Super Bowl right now, right?
That's right.
So kind of like a lot of things have honestly kind of fallen off the radar a little bit because we just have a narrow focus of let's finish strong, let's get the legislature done, let's make sure that we're educating people as best as possible on what's happening.
To make that point though too about contacting your senator, I mean we do live in a pro-life state.
But they need to hear from
you. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like,
because oftentimes we assume they're going to do the right thing.
Yes.
But then the other side is very vocal, right?
Yeah.
And they're very motivated. The legislators want to know that they have people who have their back.
Yeah.
So a phone call, if you have any sort of relationship where you can go one person to the next person to call that legislator, I can promise you that those small things mean something to our state legislators. And we're not talking about our congressmen in D.C. They're, well, we love Steve Scalise and all those people. They're a little removed, right, in D.C.
Right.
But your state representatives and state senators, they need to hear from you personally through phone calls, through written letters, and through communication through friends.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic.
Allison.
I invite everyone, all of your listeners, to go to womansnewlife.com. Learn about our services, read and see how we are helping women, and spread the word as well. Let folks know whether you've had an abortion. You may know somebody who's had an abortion a month ago or 10 years ago. We can help them. If someone struggled with a recent pregnancy loss, we can help them as well. So we do have a fundraiser event. It's coming back in person. We talked about the virtual gala for the last couple years, but our gala is returning on October 7th, Friday, October 7th, 2022, at Club 44. So to be right next to Champion Square. So we'll have that, and then in Baton Rouge, we're going to have our Born to Run 5K fun run on November 12th. So folks can just go online to make a donation if they wish. If a church wants to get involved with a church campaign, like a baby bottle campaign, please call our office, and for sure they can find out.
Before we started, I was talking about the pro-life clubs in high schools. My daughter was actually talking about this. Is there ways that maybe like a pro-life club in a high school or grade school can have y'all come in and talk more about what y'all are doing?
Yes, we do that, and we love it. And so any school that would like us to come by and talk to them and give a presentation about Woman's New Life, please invite us. You can call our clinic and ask for Elizabeth, and she'll be sure to come in and meet with the boys and girls. For sure.
The sense I'm getting is, it's like, all right, Ben, you were saying it's like all of our focus right now is on this. This is the Super Bowl. This is it. This is the thing that we've been working for. And so trying to make sure that all the ducks are in a row after this decision. And many of those ducks are making sure that, again, this doesn't mean that unplanned pregnancies are just going to stop in Louisiana just because of this legislation or this law being overturned. So we need to make sure that we are anticipating that and recognizing, okay, like if abortion is not going to be an option anymore, then we have to be making sure that we're having extra funding for clinics to serve women in need, to increase adoption providers services as well, and recognizing that we as a state can put the resources where they need to be now that this is gone. And I think, again, that goes back to this critique or this narrative that it's like, well, we're just going to go back to back alley abortions or things of that nature. It's like, no, like we're going to provide, we recognize that the need is still there, and that some service is still going to be needed and still going to be offered. And it is encouraging to hear that you guys are certainly fighting hard for that. So, we still have just a couple more minutes. Any other final thoughts or comments as we're kind of wrapping up?
Yeah, I would just say, echoing that, I think the resource in Louisiana, I would say that there's so many beautiful, wonderful private and public resources available to women. I think the challenge comes when Roe v. Wade's overturned, is it because abortion has been a quick fix, like you've talked about, and there were 7,448 abortions last year, right? So that's a lot of women, right? I think the big question in my mind, will women know that places like Women's New Life Clinic are available to them? Will they know that adoption agencies are available to them, and all these other housing, rental resources that are out there? And to me, that's one of the greatest hurdles that we have together in the pro-life movement, is can we successfully cut through the clutter and reach real people on the street, in their homes, and make sure they know, okay, I can't choose abortion, but I can go here, right? And so I think that is how people can help us as well, is help us just simply disseminate information. That may seem like, oh, okay, whatever, spread the word, right? But social media, things like that's got to become pervasive, and we just simply, we don't have the funds to do it alone, right? It would take millions and millions of dollars to saturate Louisiana with that. We really need the grassroots, the people, to help distribute that information out to the public. I think that's really important.
I think funding online marketing is a huge need right now. We need to cut through the clutter, like you said, and make sure women know that we're here. We are going up against, in the abortion movement, the abortion industry, I think it's something like $16 million is what they spend on marketing annually. Wow. And that's not something we can compete with, but we want to make sure that we have that presence, because every woman's got a smartphone. Every woman's going to go, if she's looking up, how do I reverse my abortion? Or she may not even use those terms. We hadn't talked about yet abortion pill reversal, and that's a huge service that we offer for free for women. And maybe we can talk about mail order abortion, because
we have a minute here, so actually that's a great way to talk about that real quick, because in the absence, that's what we've seen, in the absence of abortion being provided in states, what about the abortion pill and mail-in? Finding a doctor in another state that can prescribe that for you.
They're not even prescribing it.
They're not even prescribing it. They're just sending it.
You go online, you buy it. Angie Thomas, who we all know works with us and a long time with Women's Life Clinic. I mean, she went online and she just ordered an abortion pill, no pregnancy test, no doctor consultation. She said she was 13 weeks pregnant, which is higher than really what you should, that's safe for the woman. Now, none of it's safe for the baby. And she, within 3 days, she got the abortion pills with our house and very little instructions, no doctor consultation. If a woman has an ectopic pregnancy, it's very dangerous for her. So we have a bill going through the legislature to try to increase criminal penalties to try to stop those people who are selling these abortion pills. We hope that will help. It's still going to be difficult. It's really going to take states all around the country to lock that down and try to prevent that, both for the health of the baby and the safety of the mother as well.
Well, thank y'all both so much for coming out and for all that you're doing. I want to encourage everybody to check out Dr. Mario's podcast. Always hope he's got a solid 4 episodes on life. It's episodes, I wrote this down. It's episodes 23, 82, 44, and with Ben Clapper 98. So check out, listen to those episodes, support the Women's New Life Clinic, and go to their website and check them out, see what they're doing and all the resources. And if you feel in your heart, pray for them and for all the women that they serve and for those who are serving, but also too financially, if you can give them some of your support, they would be much appreciated with, especially in this time right now. And the same with Ben Clapper. Go to his website, Louisiana Right to Life, learn about all the things that's going on, keep them in prayer, keep all this in prayer, learn more and support them if you can. We need now more than ever all hands on deck and to provide whatever we can to support this culture of life and to be a solution in this problem. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.